What's going on, y'all? All love, all positivity, all great, magnificent, beautiful energy that we all want, we all crave in this around, Hopefully y'all getting them beautiful kids ready for bed. Hopefully you detoxing yourself from this matrix, Hopefully I don't gotta do no doubles, Get home before 12 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? All love. Every day. Anyway. This video is about the origin of labels and names. Now, I'm gonna keep it simple, and I'm gonna stick on the point with this. In order to name something or define something, right? You have to what, y'all? Create language. Now, the Rosetta Stone, right? It's a long story short, because I don't want to put too much emphasis on this Rosetta Stone. It ain't all it's cracked up to be. What the Rosetta Stone is, in a simple understanding, is a supposed translation of ideograms or pictograms or pictures or images, however you like to put it. It is the translation of hieroglyphics that was found in my motherland. You know what I'm saying? And all other sorts of areas. Stay on topic. Now, all of our languages, according to the Rosetta Stone, was translated through a man named Jean Champollion. You feel me? Frenchman, as you can hear the name. Anyway, the origin of our names, things that we label, right? Including the names of places on the map. Keep that in mind, because I'm going to touch on that somewhere along in this. Our dictionaries, your thesaurus, your literature, everything comes from this supposed translation of the hieroglyphics on the motherland in Egypt, ancient Egypt. Now, whether it was a proper or improper translation, I'm not going to touch on that right now. That's for a later time. I wanted to touch that to bring the understanding of naming and defining something. When you define something, right? Case in point, right? This item, I'm calling it an item for right now. Right? Hold on, y'all. This item, right? If I name or define through defining this said item, right? We call it a rag. Simple. This is a bottle. Simple, right? Now, simple understanding. I love simplicity because it's beautiful. Just stay with me, because it's gonna get easy. When you define something, you devalue it. In other words, you take the possibility of this rag being anything other than what you defined it to be. You understand? This rag is used for a limited amount of purposes. You feel me? Through our defining of the said object in question. Now, Think of the same bottle or the same rag on the wall, right? Placed on a wall somewhere. Now, before it was called a rag, right? Before there was a label, before there was letters in order to create words, in order to create definitions. You follow me? Before you could create letters to create words, to create a definition, whose idea was it to denote a picture and make the letter S, the letter T? What about this bottle? Say this was inscribed on a piece of rock somewhere. What about the picture of this bottle says anything about it becoming an R, a T? How can you... Now, stay on topic. How can you make a letter out of a picture? Somebody has to explain that to me, because that is not logical. You understand? That's not a proper way of translating something. When we're talking about sound, or it's just hard to even try to explain it to the next person. But I'm getting somewhere with this. Now I'm gonna make it personal for a second. I'm gonna talk about me. Words, right? According to law, on documentation, because you gotta understand, law is on paper, right? So we're talking about parchment. We're talking about pen to parchment. You feel me? That's all we're talking about right now. Keep in mind, this is what all governments are. Pen and paper. Law, documentation, legalization of government. It's just pen and paper. Simple. Now follow this. Me, in this country, under law, I am considered an African American, right? Now I'm going to chop that up real quick. African. The word Africa comes from a conqueror's last name, Africanus. American comes from a conqueror's last name named Amerigo. Now, we're talking about defining something. We're talking about naming something, y'all. According to the documentation of the United States of America, right? I am an African American. I am an Africanos Amerigo. And personally, I don't label myself as an African American. You gotta understand, we talk about documentation, paper, right? Now, black. This is very freaking important, because the ignorance of our institutions, we are reaping the results of that ignorance every single day, right? Personally, I think science should have been the foundation of all education, because that's what all intelligence stems from. It stems from the hypothesis, experimenting, and really breaking down life and understanding all aspects of how things come into creation. But hey, American curriculum for you. Anyway, Western psychology. Anyway, if I subscribed to the psychological understanding that I was an African American, me as a melanated man would be expressing a level of ignorance of where I actually come from. That's African American. Now, I trailed off and now I'm coming back. Color, black, right? Obviously, I'm not the color of this shirt. Talk about color for a second, right? Talk about color for a second. Because black in law is very important too. But you got to understand colorism in law. So I'm getting there too. I'm not as black as my hair. This is blacker than the pigmentation of my skin. Absolutely. But if somebody was to ask me what I am, it would be one of two things. I would be denoting black as being a pure source of melanin, or I would say I'm a melanated man. Personally, I prefer to say melanated man. It has a good ring to it. You know what I'm saying? I like it. Now, outside of... No. I want to touch on that. Color, right? Color in law means death. It means I'm not associated with no nation, no law, no institutions. Black colorism in law is very important because the white laws are also in place. We've heard of the black laws, but never really got into the understanding of the institution. You understand what I'm saying? Now, outside of the political arena, right? We're gonna relate color or art to science because they're one and the same. Lovelies. They're one and the same. White is the rejection of light. It is the rejection of natural sunlight, of melanin, of the cosmic energy that is surrounding us all day. Black is the purest absorption of melanin. Now, when we talk about the electromagnetic spectrum, that's just a cute word for color. But the issue with our institutions is they have redefined nationality. They redefined race through things like colorism, through things like redefining who you are through the institution. See what I'm saying? Where I have to search through not hidden information, but information that was withheld from me in order to understand exactly who I am and where I come from. Because if I allowed the institution to tell me who I am and where I come from, I would be an African American. Subconsciously, you understand? Me subscribing to it, not understanding law or language or where words come from. Now, this is about to get a little deep because this is where nationality and ethnic pride becomes convoluted in our everyday lifestyle, where people have denoted themselves to a geographic location based on a name on a map, and they are representing themselves as a name on a map. People need to understand the power of definition, because there are people who find pride in being called Puerto Rican. There are people who find pride in being called Jamaican. Okay? There are people who find pride in being called names that are on a map that don't come from them. But due to the fact they was born in this location and this false sense of pride has been created around all of us, on top of blissful ignorance, at the end of the day, it ain't nothing to look it up or understand that, hold on, am I naming myself after a land? Am I the land or am I me? You see what I'm getting at? Even the everyday white man, this is his nation. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, he is not an American, because an American only exists on paper. If he wants to find pride in his nation, it's on him. Patriot, do your thing. Hoorah for you. Feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, pride and prejudice go hand in hand. Because a person is willing to never mind the fact that I just told him a white man and an American are not this are two different concepts. But at the end of the day, he's neither a white man nor an American, because he's not a color. He's not a color. He's not a color neither. So, you know, it gets deep when it comes to what we take pride in. Now, I want to jump back on the language understanding, right? Because before you could call yourself a Spaniard, you had to create the Spanish language. Understand that. Before there was an Italian, before there was a being on this planet defining himself by a language, the language had to be made. You can't put the word Italy on a map before you make the language and name it Italian. That's simple. Now, when we talk about people from India calling themselves, then word semantics are create all the chaos, because you got words like India denoting a piece of land on the map, but then that same word in an extended version, aka Indian, was used to denote black people, but it wasn't originally the word Indian, it was the word indigo, which denoted blue-black, because through perception. So, excuse me, y'all, had some Cinnabons. When it comes to who you are, where you come from, chopping that information up is very important. Latino. You can't be a Latino before the Latin language was created. You can't be Arab before the Arabic language was created. Now, case in point, me. Now, I want to always refer back to me, because I live this and I understand this and I walk in this understanding 24/7. Feel what I'm talking about? Now, P, I speak English, but I don't speak the old King's English. I don't speak the original version of English, but I do speak a version of English. But I speak a hybridized version of English. Now, English for the new English. You got to understand, there's old English and then there's new English. Now, language also denotes who was conquering who at what time, but that's a different time for a different story. I want to stay on the, names, labeling, and understanding its origins. English comes from German language, Yiddish language, and the Latin language. German, Yiddish, and Latin. I speak a hybridized version of all three of these. Simple. The King's English does not have Latin infused in it. It's just German and Yiddish. And then when you go a little further to the land that they denoted on the map called Germany, these people actually speak the original Germanic language. It's simple. You understand? Simple understandings. You know what I mean? And it's not something to fuss and fight about. I don't do too much of the fussing and fighting. You know, I don't do too much of that. I pass the information. You digest it how you please. You know what I'm saying? And I keep my God energy flowing because I'm good over here. Pride and prejudice starts to play a part when you express these understandings to people. And people come to the realization of how deep their ignorance and arrogance goes. And some people come to the realization that, yeah, maybe I am a little bit racist. Maybe I am a little bit prejudiced. Because when it comes to the pride of my nation and where I believe I come from, what I have denoted myself to be, I'm going to stick by that before I stick by what's right. Before I stick by all people. I'm going to stick with those people first. And these are tools of division, y'all. At the end of the day, there is no such thing as a nation. If you burn the documentation, there is no Americans. You burn the documentation, there are no Puerto Ricans. You burn the documentation, it doesn't exist. And you have to understand the powers that be and how they have devalued. The powers that be, through their influence, have influenced us to devalue ourselves and find pride in it. There are black men on this planet calling themselves Moors. Not even being ignorant to the history, knowing the history, but on top of that, throwing out the fact that it was your conqueror using this terminology on you before you learned the language. Where it's like, I'm good just being a melanated man and knowing that. I'm melanated. I'm original. That's all I need to know. What the fuck? You understand? I don't care if a man call me a nigga or whatever. All of that shit don't come from me. You know, we chop it up, put our vernacular, we do what we do with it. But at the end of the day, shit ain't mine. But I'm cool with that. What? I'm not gonna go crazy because it ain't mine. I know it is mine. And I want my shit back. Simple. I want my shit back. I know it is mine. And through all and inside all these traditions and cultures and heritages and these little practice teachings and whoop-de-whoop, it's a bit of me all in that motherfucker. Cause everything's black, baby. Every you can't escape me. I'm the manifestation of come on. I don't want to get too godly on y'all because I want to, you feel me? But at the end of the day, black is what it's supposed to be. You feel me? We what we supposed to. I am the definition of great black essence. And every man that ever tried to count me out, he realized he was playing a suicidal game at the end of the day. He playing the game, he fighting himself, cause boy, we ain't even in the, you know what I'm saying? So I'm good with just being melanated and sticking to it, you feel me? But, bring it all to a close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Controlling the room, controlling the environment, controlling my projection of my energy. You feel me? Simple. But, nice little lesson. Alright. Not too much longer, so much peace to y'all. Hopefully this wasn't too much, digest it how you please. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I ain't hurt too many egos, but at the end of the day, I don't give a damn to hurt your ego. Feel me? We don't need no egos. Feel me? It ain't even allowed here. So don't, you feel me? Mind your energy, dog. Genuine positive energy. Because at the end of the day, you are, I am who I am. You feel me? And we can live harmonious. Drop the God, I know.